Aloha, beautiful, golden, galactic, celestial, cosmic family on the planet of creation, the crystalline corridor of creation. Doing a little love stream, tapping the family in with some miracle coordinates. Hi, Illumina. And if you think this love stream is going to be inspiring, please share it, because that's called gifting. So this love stream dovetails the love stream that we did the other day about how our genetics are activated by certain energies. So our consciousness is going through massive expansion on so many different levels, and we call them dimensions. So there's a lot of things going on for us right now that we're not even aware of are going on, and that's all of these energetic fields that are dissolving and transforming and transfiguring, and we're experiencing it all at the level of our personality and our physicality and our human bodies and how we interface with each other and all these kinds of things, and it's all in this great transformation and transfiguration. So as we use the metaphor of surfing the wave the other miracle day in the love stream, we're doing a lot of surfing of waves that we may not consciously see. And that's why coherence is key, which we always share. If you're feeling stress, cross your ankles, cross your wrists, clasp your hands, close your eyes and deep breathe until you feel that state of peace or stillness within, which usually only takes a few seconds. And come out of that great transfiguration, eyes open, hold your fingertips together, and do this as many times as necessary every time you may witness that part of the self that tells stories taking off down another story track that creates intensity, density, and anxiety in our awareness or our physical form. It's like we talked about the big tsunami wave coming in when you're out surfing, and you know, you're doing a 6 foot set day, and all of a sudden there's like a 3 times 6 feet overhead coming in, and you go like, oh. So we're kind of at that place, and if you know how to ride a wave, then you know what to do. You know what to do no matter what. You know how to duck under the wave, you know how to get out of the way of the wave, you know to do something. So that's part of the purpose of sharing another transmission about the most significant energies that we're in right now. If we're in the field of 0 point consciousness, which a lot of our consciousness is at right now, it's a very creative place to be. And if we are at that place, time isn't real, planets aren't real, the sun isn't real, the genes aren't real, we're not real, and all those things. If our point of view or perspective is more still coming from these 2 eyes and our personality, then we are very much affected by this thing called the I Ching, which is a clock, and it tells us how the sun travels through all of the genes that make up our human form throughout the year. And as the sun moves into each gene, it highlights that gene. It's like it turns it on. And for a moment, as we shared the other day, it's like opening the door to that part of the library within us. So this week we are in this super cool container of the 60th gene. And the 60th gene is all about creating simple containers for magic to flow. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. Let's help our human family, because even though time isn't real and doesn't exist, Saturday is like huge. And if we'd all learned about Saturday and the 41st gene in grade 1, we would know what to be doing right now, which is clearing out the clutter, letting go of the rigidity inside of ourselves, our relationships, the way that we do things, just dropping to our knees if we have to pray to have it taken away, if we can't figure out how to let it go. So it's like releasing the rigidity and just using this miraculous week to set up simple containers. The simple containers are, once they're initiated inside of the opening of the vaults of the 60th gene, now you have containers for more love to flow in those relationships, those projects, whatever really lights you up. This is the week to create those containers, those invitations. Sit down and do some, journaling. Tap into what is it that is coming through me as my true passion now. Because as our psyche dissolves away, what we thought we were passionate about, guidance came through with this 3-day transmission last weekend about social media. And that social media has created such a false egoic face, such a false interface for people to be relating and resonating on that isn't even real. It's based on digital editing of photos, and it's based on 30-second clips and all these kinds of things. And there's really no connectivity to the heart. So people can be really famous in their social media and see them behind the scenes and they're not so happy, because it's all a false interface. It's a false front. The Hopi prophecy told us at the time of Great Shift, our survival would be contingent on the quality of our heart. They didn't say our survival would be contingent on the quality of our social media campaigns. And so this great awakening, guidance is showing, is going to be coming even through all that is offered in social media. There's going to be a lot of collapsing of platforms that have been very successful platforms in social media because there is no substance of the heart behind them. I'm just an oracle. I'm just, as a messenger, sharing what the guidance has been showing. And last Miracle Weekend, there has been some major unplugging behind the scenes of these systems that have created this kind of false interface for humanity. And that's why nature is a place of connectivity. Our relationships are a place of our connectivity. Go there, allow the dissolution of our egoic selves to allow that nurturing essence, which is the truth of who we are, to really rise in us this week, and allow our relationships to be the receivers of that natural nurturing essence, that quality of humans that loves to cuddle, that loves to hug, just like animals naturally do, and humans have been so removed from. And so this week, let those containers blossom, let those containers initiate themselves such that we are consciously participating in the kind of containers we are creating that will then invoke cosmic energy to come in and supercharge those things in our life. And as we say, the whole social media interface of Photoshop pictures and million viewers or whatever all that stuff is, when there's no connectivity, when there's no heart, when there's no true essence in what's being put out, it's all about to dissolve. And I won't even mention 2024 and what's coming if humanity doesn't get this, because this is still the miracle coordinate for us to do the work, so to speak, to continue to work on that inner dialogue, to continue to work to improve ourselves, make ourselves specialists at being humans, do the physical, do the dietary, do the spiritual, do the passionate. It's like, this is really, the universe isn't going to do this for us. And so these are a lot of things that are coming through right now to share, and we're really curtailing them, what comes out of our mouth, through what we're being shown up there. We are the creators of our creation, and simultaneously, there's massive silly putty up there to play with. And if we don't play with it, we don't know how to play with it, and we don't know how to initiate. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. If we don't know how to initiate, and so initiation is key, as the clock of the I Ching sun moves into the 41st gene on Saturday. Even though time isn't real and Saturday isn't real and is part of some calendar called Roman Greco and all those things. Okay, so Saturday, the clock of the sun moves into the 41st gene and it activates it. The 41st gene is called the Initiator codon, and it's all about the protein sequencing that sets up inside of our cells. The guidance has been coming through with all this information about connectivity to the microbes in our bodies right now. And through December, as we traverse December, and many people were going through dismantling, also many of us were going very, very deeply into the inner planes, and we were receiving access to new levels of information that we can articulate and share to our collective human family in a simplistic kind of way that we can at least go, let me ponder that, let me contemplate that, let me open to some new perspectives. I've never thought of this before. And so the inner planes piece that really opened up in December, which has remained very, very open for we and we's awareness, has to do with how we communicate with all of the microbes and the microbial nature of our body. Because as we know, thoughts create worlds, and the cells and the microbes and all of these organisms that make up our magnificent physical body follow the conditions set forth by the thoughts of our mind. And so the guidance has been showing how to go inward to actually communicate with the microbes in such a way that we are influencers on a physical level. This is not about manifestation. This is something completely different inside of itself. Influencers on a physical level such that through inner communication with the inner planes, these microbial nature, the microbial nature of our bodies, we become influencers of the entire ecosystem that we live within. So Saturday, the sun moves into the 41st gene. The 41st gene is the Initiator codon, and whatever we are doing at the time that the sun moves through this codon sets the protein sequencing inside of us for our entire creation to come. And so, as you can imagine, it is a very significant moment in time. And it is the opportunity when we have conscious awareness to go, okay, so let's explain some more of the mechanics that may inspire all of we to actually really play with this and to be empowered to understand how we can actually influence our entire creation and our world. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. So what we shared about the protein sequencing, let's think of a good metaphor of how to do this. Saturday would be like the day that we were all invited back to the heavens. Let's say we got invited to the heavens once a year, and creation itself laid out building blocks in front of each one of us. Same building blocks for each one, and each one of us was given an opportunity, like Lego blocks, to bring those blocks together in our own unique way, the same way kids do with Lego, or anyone who plays with Lego. It's like there's no two creations the same with Lego. Saturday is one of those mornings, those risings, those days, those miraculous days when the building blocks, we go back to heaven, heaven spills the building blocks out in front of us and says, go at it. What do you want to create? Because whatever Lego blocks you put in place on this day literally creates the instruction set that the universe will follow for anyone who is in linear time. The consciousness is, pure source consciousness is transcendent of time, and simultaneously, for those of us who are 9 to 5, working on the clock, all those kinds of things, our physical form is still very conditioned to be a part of the machine based in time. So when we go up to heaven on Saturday, and this whole week is about creating those simple containers for magic to flow, which is love. Because when love flows into anything, whether it's something we're creating or it's our bank account or it's our relationships or whatever, it's going to supercharge it. It's going to open us to superabundance, which is, once again, if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. When love flows into anything, we begin to feel a new sense of sensitivity and emotionality, and it's happening for everyone. And to really trust that that is the unlocking of our superabundance, so that we're not clamped down so tightly and so rigidly through our thought forms on what we think our existence is all about. We have to keep breathing deeply into the lungs, into the heart. This is the whole area of emotionality up here in the chest, to open this incredible technology, the largest electromagnetic field of our body, resonating from our heart. So Saturday, what if, just by watching this love stream, we had a few miraculous days in time to ponder how we would want to put those Lego building blocks or protein sequences together when the train arrives in the train station of the 41st gene, when the sun arrives in the cosmic clock of the 41st gene in our bodies. What sequencing would we want to put into place? And so this is a great time for contemplation. Contrast is the opportunity to know what we want to create more of, and to know what we're ready to release inside of ourselves, inside of our creations, inside of our lives. Live life as art, inside of our life as though it is an art creation. So these last few miracle days, and the inspiration for this love stream was just to create an invitation to those who are consciously participating in their personal creations, to just contemplate, what is it that I really love in my life? And for me, it's love. It's so simple. It's like we can create a million incredible things, but without love at the foundation of everything that we do, it's empty. It's meaningless. Love is a kind of, the guidance wants to say glue, and we're like, come on, we got a better word than glue. Love is like this, guidance is making many suggestions for words right now, but love is like this magical elixir. And it comes from our willingness to dissolve into the nurturing nature of ourself. That's what I've been experiencing more and more inside of myself. Just keep letting the psyche, keep letting the ego dissolve, and really tap in to what fills me with the greatest joy. And it's always the simplest things. It's not the success of some big project. It's just a moment with life itself. That's where the richness is. A moment with a person, a moment with the hummingbird in the garden, a moment with the sky, a moment with our dreams and our imagination and our contemplation and our capacity to know that we are so much greater than the boundary conditions that humans have been living inside of. And that whole thing that the guidance was sharing about social media and how it's created such a false front for humans in not just the Western world, because really social media is carried around all over the planet. Humans have the opportunity to really place their hands on their high heart and really tune in. What is it? What is it? What is it that has purpose, value, and meaning to me? And so as we're tuning into what is it? It's a feeling. It's a feeling. We will know it through the feeling, and we may not even be able to articulate it in words ourselves. because we're moving into this expand. Our chakras are opening way beyond the chakras we had, in our telepathic capacities and our capacities for moving in and out of time and space at will and creating in the palm of our hand, all comes through our capacity to attune to sensation. So we would say that 2022, even though time isn't real and doesn't exist, and it's just a nodal point to provide a metaphorical field for us to tune into, to ask ourselves, what is 2022 for me? What does that metaphor express for me? This sensorium, sensations, it's like as the ego and the psyche are dissolving, that we're so much based on the mind, it's what is in the space between the words that feels so delicious. That is where we're going in 2022. And as more of us do, through our willingness to be sensitive, to be vulnerable, to show emotion. My last week at yoga, I cried every day at yoga. I'm working through some sensations in my body from a little creation I created of going in the sand. And every day this week, and if this LoveStream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. Every day last week, I showed up for yoga, and today was the first day I didn't cry in yoga. I pretty much cried through my yoga class every day since a week ago Sunday, because there's certain parts of my body from my little that have been experiencing sensations that feel uncomfortable. In the old story, we would have called it pain. And I just continued to go to yoga and be with the sensations of the body, be with what we call pain, and do the best that I could with all the postures, and just allow myself and my body to express and cry. And it's been so powerful. This is not the first time I've done this, but this has been exceptionally powerful with this little into the sand, because of the alignments that are occurring right now inside of ourselves and what we're clearing and what we're releasing. And it's like, I love myself so much. I'm willing to show up and be vulnerable and be transparent. Translucency is the ultimate state of transparency, and transparency just means we stop trying to hide who we really are. The ego, the psyche, the Western world, the civilizations, everything that was programmed into who we thought we were supposed to be, has created so many false fronts from the absolute majesty, magnificence of who humans really are, which is so in tune and in touch with energy and sensitivity and kindness and generosity and gentleness and tenderness and love. And so this is why the Hopi prophecy said, at this time our survival would be contingent on the quality of our heart. So I'm sharing these pieces for us to really ponder again in this week of the 60th gene. Simple containers allow magic to flow. Hey, want to go for dinner? A container can be that simple. A container can be a cup of tea. A container can be, I'm going to pull my journal book out, make a few notes, and put a circle around it. Simple containers allow magic to flow. And so in our deep ponderance, as we approach Saturday, which isn't real and doesn't exist, and as we approach the sun moving into the 41st gene, that initiator codon, where we get to go up to the heavens, reorganize our building blocks for the full year. The initiator codon in time is about the entire year to come. Seems like something that kids would want to learn about from grade 1 on. Well, let's learn about it now. The initiator codon. What sequencing do we want to put in place? So ponder. Just contemplate what truly has value and meaning. And we can go through a million things in our mind. We know that. You can allow yourself to flash all of these images. It is to tune into how it makes you feel. What is the sensation when you put these images in your mind to really get a sense, an attunement to that which truly has value and meaning from the inside out, because this is source energy. We are returning to our capacity to flow through energy so gracefully, so graciously. Both those words wanted to come out at the same time. And as we do, everything becomes easeful, mystical, miraculous. And as the sun moves into the 41st gene on Saturday, for those of we who have contemplated, who have pondered, who have used the contrast as an opportunity to ask and ask again. That's what painters do. They don't just put a color on their painting that they don't like and leave it. They go, a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that. Any kind of artist who creates music or dance or drama or whatever, it's like the subtle shifts. So as things are presented to us in our world, discernment is a word that is beyond judgment. Judgment still has a triggering quality to it. And where there's a triggering quality, there is resistance. Resistance creates persistence. And also where there is a triggering quality, if we don't allow that triggering quality to be acknowledged, whatever we're triggered by is going to grow bigger in our lives, because it's all an opportunity to become Jedis of energy. So whatever is currently in our creations, I love this. I'm going to create more of this, and I'm going to make it even more exquisite and more delicious. This, with discernment, I'm going to shift this color. Maybe I'm going to take this color right out of my painting. Or maybe I'm going to mix other colors into it to be playful, to be adventurous, to be curious. Because we're really returning to being curious again. And in all of our relations, as we can open in totality from a place of sensitivity and from a place of transparency and vulnerability, and really listen from the openness of our heart, which is an attunement to what is occurring beyond the words, because words limit, and they're connected to psyches, and they're connected to civilizations, and they're connected to aeons. So just breathe. We breathe together through this. And through the curiosity of our human heart, my greatest curiosity is how deep and rich and yummy and delicious and profound and miraculous and playful and celebratory can all of my relations be with all things. That's why the Hopi prophecy said, at this time, ask yourself these questions. Are you in right relation? And relation is about how we do all things. So it may be still time to clear out some clutter. There's a few little cluttery things I know that can still go before the 41st gene comes in. Clutter inside of me, programs inside of me, and even a few sweaters in the closet. You know, just continuing to use these miracles in time to go, okay, I got it. Even though time isn't real and doesn't exist, even though Saturday isn't real and doesn't exist. If it did exist, and if the 41st gene was real at some level of who we are, let's use this 2022. It's going to be an 01/22/2022 day. And it goes, the initiator codon, the sun is in that gene until the 27th. But it's that initial, when the sun comes in and lights up that Lego set that we have organized, those proteins that we have organized for when the sun first comes in. It's like the sun comes in and floods its light, and that hologram gets projected onto the blackness of space. And then it's literally like from that miracle forward, the hologram opens and we get to step into what we created. Once again, one would think kids would want to learn about this in school so that we really understood on a conscious level how to create our realities, how to create our creations, how to play the game. Trust the sensitivity. There's just so much richness in trusting our capacity to be sensitive and be gentle with each other. Because our personalities and our egos and the way that we express and all of that is not who we are. And I'm getting flashed that 2024 date again. And all I'll really say about that is that there's something called procrastination and denial in human psyche that just keeps going, oh, it's just all going to go away. It's not all going to go away. If the collective is unconsciously giving the keys to their car, called our vehicle, at moments like when the sun activates the 41st gene. Because in the fictional fiction, which is what we call it, the creators of the fictional fiction understood astrology and DNA and knew how to leverage it. Those parts of ourselves knew how to leverage astrology, knew how to leverage the I Ching, we're getting a little flashing message from upstairs right now, knew how to use these powerful windows to initiate certain things, while the masses were ignorant of these time clocks and the vast potential to go into these akashas and these cosmic libraries of information and consciousness when they opened up. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. The creators of the fictional fiction knew exactly how to leverage the clocks in astrology, and thank goodness our indigenous elders sustained the wisdom, sometimes very secretly, of the cosmic clocks, because they understood the power of ceremony when the doors of Akashes open for a miracle in time. They knew how to access one of our great elders, Clifford Mahudi, eldest shaman of the Zuni people, just passed Yester Miracle Day. Chief Golden Light Eagle passed recently. These are elders who sustained the information of the cosmic clocks. We have our beloved Jose Munoz, carrier of the calendar of the sixth sun, holding all of this wisdom to help those of us who lost connection to these important windows in time, to sustain that information and pass it to those who were open and ready to receive, to go, wait a minute, okay, let me get this straight. I got a car that I love. It's my favorite car. It's called my body. And you're telling me that on Saturday, if I don't consciously participate in that initiator codon, it's the oracle gene. It's the oracle gene. The oracle in the highest frequency is the divine embodied. We all have it within us to embody our divinity. So we're actually going to say partners with the oracle gene, but we're shortcutting. So are we choosing to pass over the keys to our magnificent creative tools called our body? As we often like to quote Bob Marley, "Preach man, don't tell me, heaven is under the earth." This is the greatest technology ever. So let's use these remaining days to really contemplate what we are creating for ourselves in all life. And as the sun moves into that 41st gene, and time isn't real and doesn't exist, so we don't have to freak out about the time. We're just saying, consciously inviting, inspiring all of we to use this window that goes from Saturday, but Saturday is really where it's at, till the 27th, to invoke something from beyond this creation that currently exists, that our mind cannot imagine, to come into our awareness. Because that's how consciousness makes beyond quantum leaps. It's like someone does something that's so simple and everyone goes, how come I never thought of that? It's like so simple and so obvious. That is what is waiting to come in from beyond. And the new creations of our collective creation are going to keep coming from that place. We're not going to see it outside of ourselves. We're going to keep invoking and inspiring from what we might call our ancient future selves, or our future selves, or higher selves, or whatever we want to call it. Continuously invoke it. Show me. Show me something new. Show me something original that's never been seen or done. And let it come through me in such a way that I can articulate it, or I can share it, or I can achieve it, or I can create the container for more magic to flow, for it to happen. And as we do, the microbes of our physical form begin to respond and literally shift the ecosystem around us. So, yeah, make some lists, have some fun. And if we aren't receiving something that's original and unique and authentic, and we go like, no, it's not that, I'm tuning into that, it's not giving me that feeling, I'm tuning into this. For me, all I have to do is to tune into a hug. A hug with certain people for me is just like, oh, that. What kind of world would it be if every single person was unified with their beloved? What kind of world would that be right here, right now? So let's call forth, let's set forth some really unique protein sequencing from beyond two-strand DNA, because this is all inside of the two-strand DNA, and simultaneously we're using this window to come into what appears to be our world of form, to play as conscious co-creators and collaborators, consciously, through this powerful window, as we open up that section of the library inside of our personal Akash. I put the link for, it's called the Pulse, and it's the calendar inside of the gene keys that lets you know what gene is being activated on what day by the sun. So you can click on that in the description box. I might be offering an online retreat on Saturday. I'm tuning into that. I think that makes a lot of sense, or at least an online transmission that day. If you're not on the mailing list and you would like to be, I'm going to go back and put the link in the description box. It's not there right now, but I will put it there to add yourself to the mailing list so that you can receive mailouts when I do the group transmissions. One little click of the button of my MailChimp last year deleted the whole mailing list, which was really perfect and fun. So it was obviously meant to be a whole new alignment of beings with these beyond quantum cosmic transmissions. I love you, we love we. Let's be empowered in our creating and have fun. Even if you're feeling a lot of dissolution and chaos and uncertainty, fear, joy, celebration, sparkles, whatever, participate. It's like it's a real-time thing happening here right now, or a real miracle thing happening. And watch how quickly it all comes together. It's continual right now. Little discernment here, shift of the paint color. Oh my gosh, enter stage left, exit stage right. And stay connected, not to the mind, but from those cuddles that really light us up energetically. That is where creativity is at. We love we so much. Thank you for tuning in. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And see we in the miracle.